I am Angie, your host for today's Coffee Tea Chat session. We have an amazing guest today, Yessie, and she is going to do a wonderful digital portfolio again, but this time with resume writing. I also have my drink today. It is a coffee in a red cup, and I also have a water bottle. And we have today some snacks. They are Japanese chestnut snacks. Yes. Yeah, I came prepared today.
I wasn't. I'm like, I don't got anything. I got water.
That's all you need. I wanted to make sure folks knew. When I said on Discord, by the way, we have a Discord for those who don't know, I said bring your drinks and your snacks. So it's gonna be that type of conversation. It's gonna be very chill, but very informative. And without further ado, I will now pass this on to Yessie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yesenia Yser. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft, executive director of a nonprofit called the Lioness, in which our mission is to empower women both digitally and physically through self-defense training and digital privacy training. Free to hop into that site and you can download the digital portfolio full workshop slides. This includes elevator pitch, how to write your resume, how to do LinkedIn, and different options that you can do within the community. Great resource, and we've done a previous Angie Tech Talk in which we dived into each of these slides. But I'm going to focus today on resume writing. Digital portfolio framework is something that I've created over the years that has helped me migrate and move different positions. So I was at a local HR company, and from there, using this strategy, which took me about a year and a half, I got a job at Red Hat. And then from Red Hat, a job at the Linux Foundation. And from the Linux Foundation, using the same strategy, ended up at Microsoft. A little bit about me. I've been 12 years in the cyber industry, currently focused on AI safety and open source security as a senior security program manager at Microsoft. I currently hold a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been coaching and training for about 7 years, and I'm the executive director of the Lioness Instincts. Some information about my background and some fun facts about me. International speaker. I've spoken in Europe, Canada, and looking for other avenues to speak. I've traveled around the world to multiple continents. Love to build Legos, love all the geeky stuff, and definitely love the ground. On the top right is a picture that I debated whether to take off or not, but it was me jumping off of a plane for the first time in 2024, I believe. For me, it's just a reminder that sometimes you have to be the first one to drop off the plane. So I was extremely terrified, as you can see in my face. And when I went, I wanted to make sure that I was the first one on the plane and the first one off the plane, because I just wanted to get it over with. And it was a reflection of how I've taken my career. When I first started, there's been a growth in women in the industry. And when I started, it was just me and the boys, essentially, throughout most of my education, most of my career, and even my martial arts training. And for me, it's just like there wasn't representation, but I wanted to be a representation. I always think of life as a system. Everything that you do, from job interviewing to dating to anything you want to do in life, really, there's a system, there's a process. And I like to put on my hacker hat and think of how am I breaking the system? How am I getting around the system? So that's kind of where my hacker mentality goes. A little bit of the nonprofit. We are looking for volunteers for anybody that is interested in exploring in the digital privacy space. Welcome content creators, speakers, social media experts, community managers, engagement, content writers, a blog or whatnot. So that's totally up to you. These are ways to get in touch with us. And as I mentioned, these are some of the positions that we're looking for as far as volunteers. Before I move into the workshop, these are some books I highly recommend in the cyber industry. The first two, Playing Big, for me, felt like a big sister. I am the older sister, so for me, reading this book felt like a bigger sister was speaking to me about how to live life and how to move and how to make space for myself. Nice Girls Still Don't Get the Corner Office. I'm sure there might be a new iteration of this book, but this one was a nice one about little short stories about different things of how we unconsciously self-sabotage ourselves in our career. Book in the middle, Stronger Together, Women in Cybersecurity, Volume 1. I am chapter 10 on that book, so you can read a little bit about me, my story, and the information that was shared through that book. If you're interviewing for cybersecurity and trying to figure out your role, the fourth book, Hack the Cybersecurity Interview, is a great start to learn how to get there, what certifications, what study path, and so forth. And then for those with kids, The Little Cyber Engineer is one of my favorite security child book. And then off into the little bit more nerdy realms, Coat of the Dead Cow is such a great book about the start of hacker communities and super groups that started, how Anonymous came about, how the Hacker Summer Camp came about. This is such a great book on like the history and overall information about the growth of the security culture. Ghost in the Wires and Art of Invisibility was written by Kevin McNick, who passed away, if I'm not mistaken, 2023 or 2024, which the first book is his memoir on how his growth into playing with technology and exploring and finding loopholes in the systems that were, to how he was being chased by the FBI and actually became the world's most wanted hacker back in the, I think it was the 1980s. Then he wrote a book on the art of visibility and tips and tricks, how to stay private. For those that are interested in the AI space, the last two books are great ones. Not a bug, but with a sticker. I found a fantastic read that goes through the history, the politics, the policies, all the things to kind of build you a nice baseline on understanding what AI is, how it came about, and some of the different attacks and ways that we have learned of how to secure AI. And then Guardians of AI, I haven't read it yet, but it is, I have a book, I skimmed through it, I go through various sections, and it gives you this nice, more educational baseline for it. Those are just some books that I recommend. And now let's get into the good stuff. And then anybody interested in public speaking, this is a service that I use that allows me to search and apply for different public speaking events, and they vet it. If you want to see what a public profile looks like, you have a public one that you can share about, and then you have a private one. It's great because you can keep various talks that you have, and people can search through and determine. I've made money through some of the speaking engagements that I found on here. Highly recommend. Here's a link to register. So I'm going to walk through some of the steps. We're going to take a pause, but for those watching online, I really want you to take a moment and go ahead and do some of these activities, like pause the video, go ahead and do it, and come back. Before we can start the actual job hunting, right, before we can actually start writing our resume, we need to understand what we're aiming for. So let's do a little bit job hunting. And I want you to think of the road that you want to take. Which is your route? Do you want something more technical? Do you want something more in leadership? If you're not sure where in security you want to go, you can ask yourself this question. Take some time, journal it, and search. I'll be sharing resources and links with Angie at the end of this that will be added to the video, so you can go ahead and read more. Figure out when time is passing by very, very slowly. What are you doing? Are you building something? Are you breaking something, like taking it apart? Are you investigating, like you're going down this rabbit hole, you're watching these investigative crimes, are you in social gatherings, just with people, bringing in common message? Are you organizing? Like, what are you doing? Think about that. You can use the words that I made or that I said, or you can come up with something else that pops into your head. Now, when you think about that, if that's something you enjoy doing, that time passes by quickly, good news, there's a role for you in cyber. So let's say you want to do something where you're writing software, you're being more secure about it. You can go and target security engineer role. If you want something more leadership that has its technical pieces, but you're not the one responsible for the technical writing, you can go for a project manager or a program manager. There's like various levels with those. And then it's project, program, and then product. Those are the various levels for that. Usually entry levels like project or program. Then from there, you can determine, like, do you want to do more investigative? Do you want to do more like hacking and breaking? Do you want to be building software? Do you want to be patching software and working with teams? There's a whole profile of that, but I just want you to, for right now, we're going to go in the examples with either a software security engineer and or a program project manager. I'm going to show you some steps. First things first is take your role, and I want you, and we're going to pause, and I want you to go ahead and find 10 to 20 job descriptions. You're going to go, and I'm going to show you a Google Doc that you can use. You're going to use Google Doc, and you're going to go in there, and you're going to search for a role. Go ahead and give you a few seconds to review this page, the slide, and then we're going to go shift over to the example. Google Docs is kind of like a way you query Google, where you can have like your in text. This is words that you want. You can direct it to pull only things from google.com. And then anything that you search for, you only want it to be a PDF, or you want to make sure what this says and. But another option is to also decide, I want anything before this date. I want anything after this date. So we're going to come here, and I have one kind of preset for us. So here we are. We're in Google. Right. And then I want anything that's after 2025, August 1st. Oops. I did the date. I did the date wrong. You're going to see that Google is pulling up specific jobs from LinkedIn, and you can see this was 5 days ago, this was 22 hours ago, 3 days, 7 days. The reason I like to go this route is LinkedIn is preset on its algorithm. Anything that you put in your LinkedIn, which is a whole other workshop, but this is kind of like the build to that. Anything that you put into LinkedIn uses to redirect roles for you. If you use LinkedIn to do this activity, when you go ahead and you update your LinkedIn after you've done the activities for the resume, you're going to see that more of these roles and more of the recruiters are going to find you with these roles. Go ahead, and I'm going to open this one for right now. Right, make sure that it's real, the salary checks out, it's what I want, so forth and whatnot. Okay, cool, this one's good. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to open another document in the background. Just use this one here. Boom, boom. And then just for educational purposes, but sometimes you might find posts where somebody will have and post or share a job, and it would be the hiring manager or it would be the main recruiter for that role. So you'd be able to go click on that LinkedIn post and see who the hiring manager or the recruiter is. And then as a human, I'm going to repeat that, you're going to communicate to them as a human, not a robot that's just trying to get something out of them, but somebody that's like actually interested in hearing about their life. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our favorite Jet AI. So this isn't going to be too much of a fancy prompt, but the more job descriptions and roles you put, the more information you'll get. Of course, the more effort you put into your prompt, the more details and better match you would get. My top things to identify what role I want and my ask for it. Using the links below. Share the top 10 to 15 soft skills and the top 15 hard skills. Top 10. For someone leading security, we're going to do, for this example, security engineer. Okay, so I've given it my engineer role. Maybe I'll put that's been in tech industry for 3 years. It's going to search, it's going to scrape it, it's going to parse it. Now I have my list, hard skills and soft skills, that the roles that I've looked at that I liked, and I'm like, okay, this is a possibility for me, right? Don't just grab whatever roles when you do that search. I did it for demo purposes, but actually open them, review it, make sure it's a company you want. This is like a full-time job. Look at it, make sure it's a job you want, make sure it's a company you want, save the link, get about 10 to 15, prompt it to fit your need, to fit your focus and your goals. And then from there, we'll go ahead and you see we have now a list of 10. From this list, I will parse this list out to separate lists. A list of things that I've done and a list of things I haven't done. Let's say network security and protocols. I'm going to say that I haven't done any of that in my career. Okay, I'm going to put that under my study. Those are the things that I haven't done. Pen testing, vulnerability assessment, I've kind of done some of that. So I'm going to put it on both lists. Incident response and security monitoring, I've done that. I'm going to put it in my story. So you're creating 2 lists out of the hard skills. You're going to go through hard skills and the soft skills. And you're going to create a story list, which are the things that you've done, and a study list, the things that you haven't done. When you're done skimming through, you're going to have a good assortment of bullets under each. The things that you have done will now be your bullets that you'll update your resume. And the things that you haven't done You're going to look for a open source project, just create your own project, something, a boot camp, something that's going to allow you to like practice those skills and show in a public forum that you have done these skills, or at least the level of where you are at with that skills. I've done plenty of cloud security and DevSecOps, right? Let's go with the first one. So given your knowledge of me and my professional background, I'm only doing this for demo purposes. I would literally make 2 separate lists, but I'm gonna have GenAI make a list based on how it knows me. Generate a story list of skills that I already have and a study list of skills that do not have background in happens. So GenAI definitely thinks highly of these skills. So cryptology, encryption, I do have cloud, I do have that one. I don't really have that one, and I don't have. So this is my study list, right? So an example of a project, and I'm making this up, right? You could probably have multiple projects. Like you might not be able to tackle everything under one. The idea is for you to kind of knock out some and learn hard skills. We'll do in cryptology encryption with some penetration testing. Top of mind, we find an open source project that is penetration tool, and we go ahead and we find 2 projects, one an encryption tool and one a penetration tool. Open source, find it, boom. We use the penetration tool to test out the cryptology tool, and then we can use the cryptology tool to just play with how to build out PKIs and manage it. If you want to do a little bit more intense, you can get the various cloud providers offer monthly credits for you to go ahead and explore and play with. You can even go ahead and set up, from looking at all these bullets from GitHub, set up a pipeline that pushes out some code to your cloud environment. In there, uses certifications, and then you go ahead and do a penetration test. It's a bigger project, but that kind of idea of like, okay, that's going to use GitHub, which allows me to upload repos in public form. I'm going to use that, make a DevSecOps pipeline, learn some tools, learn what CI/CD is, learn about SaaS and DaaS, get that, create a container, create a Docker container, and then push it out to some cloud environment. Boom. Do that. You make it open source. You just upload your sharing, your knowledge to your GitHub repo, and then you add that link to your GitHub. You can make it with some AI models, and that would tap into your AI. And then once you do all that, you can go ahead and, let's say we want to do a threat model. We'll just do a threat model, do an Excel file where you kind of threat model and think about it, and think about it, upload it to the GitHub repo. And if a recruiter's looking at that, they'll be like, okay, cool, check. I've seen that they've built out a GitHub repo with some code that they wrote, very basic, hello world, might have a UI, might be something in the language that you're trying to learn, Java, Python, C, whatever it is, Go. I've seen them push out to cloud. A project like that as a hiring manager will allow me to see like, okay, they're just trying to get their hands into many buckets and learn different things, but they're exploring all of that and fully understand the full vision of the software lifecycle. That's how I would take it as a hiring manager, and how I would kind of, if I were in your shoes trying to go this route, that's kind of how I would play it from the study. Now, cool, how do we write and update our resume? Let's do cloud security. So we're going to do something that's called STAR method. Some of the studies could be a certification that you take. It could be a lab that you find. It could be just some pen testing. Maybe do a bug bounty. CTF. There's different ways to practice it. And I think as long as your resume shows these various ways of covering the gaps that you have, it helps. We're going to go ahead and move into how do we update our resume. We're going to do something called STAR. So using the STAR method, 1, define STAR method so I can understand. Then 2, write 5 examples of the STAR method using your knowledge of my professional background. And I'm doing this for time reasons. For here, you would kind of put little bullets. I kind of just do a brain dump and then ask it to write the STAR methods. STAR, this is your situation. It kind of just sets the scene. What was your challenge? Tasks. What were you responsible for? What needed to be done? Your actions. What are the steps that you take? This is kind of where you show that depth. And we're going to show some examples. And then what was the outcome? This is usually qualitative, number, like a percentage, or number, or time, something to kind of show your impact. I know the examples have it in 4 bullets. From this, I will take it and compile it together into 1 bullet, and that will be the bullet for my resume. So just for example purposes, using example 1, combine the STAR statements into a statement for my resume. I'm going to copy this so we can have it side by side. Okay, so this is example 1, right? Our situation is that while we were working the security operation, we supported a global enterprise. We had to mitigate critical application stacks in AWS as well as on-prem. The task that I was given, I didn't do this. This is just something that, remember, these are just examples to give you kind of an idea of how to craft it. We have our situation. We're in a security operation role. We have a global enterprise, and we have to mitigate some of the applications that's AWS and on-prem. What are we doing? So we were tasked with enhancing visibility, so making sure people across the company can see it, and helping with incident response for these workloads across now what is a hybrid environment. The action is using AWS CloudTrail and Guard Duty. We've put that into our SIM platform, aligned it with our IAM policies for least privilege, and then created standard playbooks. With that, what we ended up doing was reducing our mean time by 40% for cloud incidents. So that allowed the team to actually respond quicker to these events and reduce the time that we, detected. It was a lot quicker for us to detect. Their leadership built confidence with us, being able to effectively more response to AWS. That's if we were to speak in the interview. Your STAR method are your points for how to speak in the interview, right? You can tweak it. Please just don't read what's on here. Make sure it's actual numbers that you use. And the question I get a lot is how can I qualitatively define myself? Make it realistic. While we're not going to be asked for evidence of how you've improved it by 40%. And most of the time, most of my experience, we haven't been sitting there really calculating these metrics. But you can kind of tell, you might get feedback from the team that you just helped, that made my life so much easier. I spent 2 weeks on this, now it's a week. And from that, you can be okay, I reduced it by 50% of your time. Be realistic with your numbers. If you're not sure, guesstimate to the best of your sense, but it should be realistic. This is what you would put, essentially, tweak it to your own language, make sure it represents you. This is how you would put it for your generic resume. Let's say we did this, we did it for all of our bullets. Now I want to pick my favorite company, right? We have the bullets for our generic resume. This is the one that we kind of keep and then we tweak along the way. And what I want to do now is I'm going to come here, I'm going to pick a random company. What is the mission, vision, and core values of Lego? Let's say I want to be a security engineer for Lego. I will work at Lego one day. What I'll do is for a company, I'll look at their mission, their vision, and their core values. This allows you to join their culture and tweak your crafted resume for that company to use their core values. You can see Lego's mission is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. So when I introduce myself, I'm going to introduce myself as a builder of tomorrow, where I want to make a better future. As you talk to recruiters, as you talk to the hiring managers, as you tweak your resume to fit it, I will be using these specific words and keystone words to help me reflect better. Now, I'm just not going to take it. Let's say I'm not fun, right? Let's say I'm not fun, but I'm putting everything that I'm fun, right? But if I come off as a person that's not fun, I'm actually going against it. Or maybe I just don't have any creativity. I know these are more soft skills. Or maybe I'm not a caring person. Maybe I'm not interested in learning and I have more of I already know this stuff. I'm not interested in learning. If I come and present myself as somebody that likes to learn when I don't like to learn, you can see how there will be a conflict and they will see that and read that in the interviews. Make sure that when you are using their vocabulary and their words, it comes from a genuine place. I'm not here telling you to fake anything on your resume or just use Gen AI. I'm telling you these are things that I've used to adapt in the way that I communicate using the resume bullet from example 1. Tweak it to leverage keywords from the Lego mission, vision, and core values. So as you can see, this was the original. Filed cross-functional teams, designing imaginative. I would have put imaginative there, but here enhanced learning. You can see where Gen AI put in visibility, put in these keywords to help reflect the branding. Take that and then tweak it. I don't know if you would be designing imaginative. I think somebody would giggle at that one, but that's how I would go ahead and craft my resume, find out a study plan for the things I don't have, and then from there, use the mission, vision, and core values of the company I want to work for and the company I'm applying to go ahead and tweak my resume. Now I'm going to go ahead and share my resume real quick just to touch on a few things. You see I have a comment to myself to make this prettier, but with the caveat of ATS. HR right now uses AI or a system called ATS that parses out your resume, and if it doesn't fit a certain format, it won't pick it up. So sometimes you'll notice that you'll submit your resume to a job like application thing and you still have to fill everything out because it didn't pull everything. This is kind of like the reason why. So the way I like to structure my resume, I don't do an overview piece on top, mainly because one, I already have a lot of experience. So for me, it just takes up space. I usually go straight to my current role. I do have to add my current role. Current role, I would have 3 to 5 bullets. So you can see this one has 5. At the bottom, I would have the skills that I use for that role. I think this right here is probably one of the biggest things because not only does it show the skills that you currently just used that maps with the skills that you're talking above, but it also tells from a hiring manager when's the last time you used that skill. When you have just like a bucket of skills, that just, it reads more as like, this is a combined stuff that I've done, but nobody can really pinpoint it to when you did it. And you'll see that as I scroll, I have to obviously update this, but as I scroll, the bullets become less and less. For this example, I'm gonna delete anything before 2015, so that's already 10 years. And given the experience, you can tell that, there's more. I also like to put the caveat for any roles, any experience before 2015 is seen LinkedIn. There's another way to write it. I'm just doing this as an example, and then you could probably have a link comment. Let's over. Oops. Graduating. That way you can't tell how long it took me. I have my education at the bottom. Some say I should put it in the top, but it's like older experience. If you have any publications, add a section with publication, add a section with projects, any open source projects, anything that you maintain, any volunteering you do. There's like a good amount that you can add that even if you only have one page or one bullet, adding those different pieces help expand and it shows kind of more of a person you are. If you volunteer to coach kids, hey, that teaches you good skills. If you work at the grocery store, or you volunteer at your church, those are things I would add. Though they do show some skills. Take the thoughts in mind. Hopefully you can watch this or rewatch it, pause during individual sections and build out your resume. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Discord or me on LinkedIn. And thank you all for your time and attention.
That was really good, Yessie. I think especially when folks have trouble like writing it all from scratch, and we didn't have to think about numbers and because we're in that different market now where you have to think about hiring managers' perspective. They look at the numbers a lot.
One thing I realized in my beginning when I was like writing out my resume was I kept getting a lot of feedback that I wasn't technical enough. And I was very confused because like I've done the work, I have a degree, so I'm like, how am I not technical? And I realized that it was how I was communicating my skills to other people, which kind of led to like these kind of iterations of like, you don't necessarily have to sit there and write a qualitative number, but the fact that you showed some impact. Like one of the stuff I have here is I architected an automated security workflow from this. That shows impact. And it can be something as simple as like, if you do work outside of work, your 9 to 5, and you mentor people, you could be like, I've mentored X amount of people.
I know you are the founder of the Lioness Instincts, and I am obviously a part of that, trying to advertise as many events as possible. There's some like jujitsu involved, self-defense. Obviously, that was really fun to learn about, and also a great way to defend yourself. It aligns with cybersecurity defense.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about it. So I've spent about like 6 years in cybersecurity, and then I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I realized that there was some similarity in the way that my mind thought about both of them, in the fact of like threat modeling and vulnerability assessment and just being resilient. Like those are the three things that I saw continuously. And when I really looked at it, it's under a self-defense umbrella. We have cases nowadays where something online happens can lead to something in person physically happening, like the T-app incident, where they breached the T-app. Now they have all this like location of the women, their pictures, their profiles, and like some of them are getting stalked, some are getting harassed. So what happens online can follow you in person and vice versa. So the Lioness does combine, it's a self-defense program, an organization, and we focus on teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the physical self-defense, and then online digital privacy and safety for the online, because our worlds are blended.
I think that's so cool because I feel like there was nothing like that before. We talked about security, defense, offensive security, and then protecting your digital presence online is so important. And when I found out what nonprofit was about, I was excited. I was like, yes, I gotta support in some way, shape, or form. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. You've been a continuous supporter, but it's been a interesting journey because everyone like coaches me like, you gotta split this, and I'm like, I can't split this. They're self-defense and digital defense are the same thing.
Right. And I feel like the advice is really good too, especially when you're getting ready to go to like a cybersecurity conference, for example. Like even if you're, for example, a woman in cybersecurity and you're trying to like make sure you're all set and ready and whatnot, or regardless of gender, but I'm just using that as an example. It's really important to know.
I mean, it can be from, families traveling international. It can be a single individual getting on the dating apps. It could be, single parent or just a parent with their kid. Like, what do you do with the kids? Because there are cases where high profile individuals, their kids are targeted. It's part of our life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's many cases.
And one day I'm going to go in person to one of these events and learn some jujitsu because that looks so much fun. For those who don't know, I usually see her Instagram as well as the Lioness Instincts Instagram page. And I see them getting down and like, defending and learning how to do different moves. It looks a lot of fun. And I want to participate someday.
We are also able to travel. So we'll move somewhere and like host an event in various locations, so we can always partner on something like that.
Come to the East Coast.
I am in the East Coast. You gotta come to Florida.
Yeah, there we go. I meant more up, but yes, yeah, that's right. We're all in the East. Depending on where I am in the world, I'm like, yeah. Did you go to DEF CON, by the way?
I did not this year. It just it didn't pan out for me this year. Like nothing was accepted, and I'm like, okay, next year.
That's a shame. They should have accepted. I thought they would accept, especially the Lioness Instincts workshop, because it's so amazing. Like I feel like many people could have benefited since a lot of folks go to that specific conference each year. But
so I wanted to do a self-defense event. I have an idea and strategy for next year. My issue is trying to find a location that makes sense. Because like you gotta go, it's the way DEF CON and Hacker Summer Camp is set up, like you're all over the place. So I did find somebody that does run BJJ like events, workshops during. I have various ideas on how to strategize for next year, but with my personal life changes, I'm like, okay. And things didn't pan out, I was just like, you know what? We'll plan it for next year.
Right.
Bang.
Right. Okay. Well, that's something to keep in mind for folks. Look out for the future Lioness Instincts events, because you'll never know what city you might be in. You never know.
I don't even know.
That's even more a surprise. So you'll find out one way or another. So any socials that folks can follow you on?
Yeah, so Instagram, Cyberhooded Data, at Cyber, and then JITEIRA, so it's Brazilian. The last part is Brazil, first part is English. And then LinkedIn, you can follow me. That is more of my professional journey. The IG Cyberhooded Data is kind of like my personal memory. And then the Lioness Instincts, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. With Instagram being our more active account, so to speak.
I'm really bad at advertising ATC. Really bad. After looking at this whole workshop, it's important to mention that you have a digital presence to showcase your digital portfolio. So I'm going to take the advice right now and mention that please first subscribe to the ATC YouTube to learn more about cybersecurity education, as well as bits of slice of life. I do mini vlogs as well that showcase what I'm doing and just to connect more with the community that we have, and Instagram as well. I think those are all. Yeah. Oh, and buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee if you want to donate, because we're open to donations now. So if you want to donate. Yeah. Yep, I'm taking advice from this workshop.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta.
It's so beneficial. So thank you again, Yessie. This was so great. And I feel like for those who are watching after this live stream, please take notes, put it to practice. Don't just watch it. You never know when your next cybersecurity opportunity will be. So,
and if anything, find us on Discord or look out for the next one. We'll be doing more of a LinkedIn.
Yes, and I would love to do more of these with you, Yessie, because you're so great with your public speaking and how you present yourself. It's very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. It's years of practice. Years of practice.
It's paying off.